I'm sorry, Ant, but seriously, have you ever seen a player go into an opposition building, on the road, in a closeout game, drop 20 points on 80% shooting in the first quarter, and absolutely rip the hearts out of an entire franchise, quite like Luka Doncic did to the Minnesota Timberwolves?
What is going on here? He is on one tonight.
Well, yes, we have seen it before. Of course we have, because it's not the first time he's done it. I mean, are any of us really even surprised? This man has an unhealthy obsession with taking people's lunch money in their own building, which got me thinking, is Luka Doncic the best road playoff performer of all time? What do the numbers say? Where does he rank among some of the greatest playoff performers we've ever seen? Because for the last month, we have been talking about how Anthony Edwards is the next coming of Michael Jordan. Well, all this time, I think we might have been looking in the wrong place.
You got the words with Snoop.
I've got a question for you. When Luka put Rudy in a blender in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, with less than 5 seconds remaining, I would genuinely like to know, at this moment in time, was there anyone on the face of the planet who actually thought Luka was going to miss this shot? I mean, Jaden McDaniels knew it was money, everyone in the arena knew it, and so did everyone watching on TV. Hell, Draymond Green certainly knew that was cash. Which got me thinking, there's not too many players we could say that about. Certainly not in today's game. The bigger the stage, the better this man plays. Not sometimes, but literally every single time. I mean, for crying out loud, the man dropped 42 points in his playoff debut, hit a buzzer beater 5 days later, and his worst playoff performance was a 13-point triple-double. So it's absolutely no wonder that when this shot left his hands, we all knew it was going in. Luka Doncic is a playoff demon. It's literally all we've ever known. So now that he has amassed over 45 playoff games, let's have a look at some numbers. How does he stack up against some of the greatest playoff performers we've ever seen? Well, among all-time playoff leaders in points per game, you'll find some of the greatest players to ever step foot on a basketball court. From Wilt Chamberlain and James Harden, to Larry Bird, to Shaq, Kareem, and Kobe. But only 2 players in NBA history have averaged more than 30 points a game for their entire career in the playoffs. Can you guess who they are? Those players are Luka Doncic and Michael Jordan. With that said, it would be slightly unfair to compare Luka to all-time greats like Kevin Durant and LeBron James, purely off of career averages, as they have produced a much larger sample size, have played many more games, and some have won championships. Perhaps a better way to look at this would be to see how those players stacked up against Luka when they were his age. The following is a list of the best playoff scorers from when they were drafted up until age 25. While many names remain the same, some welcome additions consist of Paul Pierce, Dwayne Wade, Vince Carter, and a surprising Gilbert Arenas appearance. Yet, through all these players, once again, Michael Jordan and Luka Doncic top the list. But don't worry, I'm just getting started. Because in Game 5, we witnessed Luka Doncic drop 20 points in the first quarter. I mean, just look at some of these shots. My man is absolutely toying with the NBA's best defensive team. But the crazy part is, we should have seen this coming. Because among all-time playoff leaders in points per game in the first quarter of closeout games, Luka Doncic is number 1. And it's not even close. But forget the first quarter. This chart represents closeout games as a whole, with points on the y-axis and assists on the x-axis. It showcases some of the greatest offensive playoff closers we have ever seen. Down the bottom, you find players like Dirk, Shaq, Jason Tatum, and Kobe Bryant, who have all averaged over 24 points per game. As we move to the right, you'll notice some playmakers, Larry Bird, LeBron, and Nikola Jokic, who don't just stand out on the scoreboard, but consistently bring their teammates into the game. And as we ascend even further, this is where you'll find, statistically, the best playoff closers we have ever seen. Kevin Durant, Allen Iverson, Donovan Mitchell, and of course, the greatest playoff closer of all time, Michael Jordan. But in terms of points and assists, nobody comes close to Luka Doncic, who damn near averages a triple-double in closeout games. Now, for all these stats I've just reeled off, this last one is perhaps the best one yet. Because what the greatest playoff performers have always had in their arsenal is the ability to go into a hostile environment on the road and silence an opposing crowd. We've seen Steph do it. We've seen LeBron do it. We've seen Michael and Kobe do it. It is, without a doubt, a hallmark of greatness. Now, throughout this series, and throughout his career as a whole, Luka Doncic has absolutely thrived in these situations. In fact, he hasn't just thrived. It's almost as though he excels. Like he gets even better on the road. When everyone is p***ing him off, that's when he's at his absolute best. This graph here showcases the best road playoff performers in NBA history and highlights some players who aren't just good on the road, but actually get better on the road. The x-axis represents points per game, and the y-axis represents a player's net points above or below what they normally average at home. As you can see, the majority of players find themselves in the bottom left quadrant. Players like Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, AD, and Giannis, to name a few, being extremely good road playoff players, but just not as good as when they've got a home crowd behind them. In the top left quadrant are a few players like James Harden and Kobe Bryant, who don't just excel on the road, but actually get better on the road. However, purely in terms of points scored per game, Stephen Curry, Nikola Jokic, Jerry West, and Kevin Durant top the list. And of course the greatest road playoff player of all time. Once again, Michael Jordan. So who's in the top right quadrant, you ask? Well, why don't you have a guess? Because there is only one player in the history of basketball, in the history of humankind, that finds themselves in the top right quadrant. And his name is Luka Doncic. And he's the best road playoff player of all time. A basketball psychopath who enjoys nothing more than seeing an opposing fan base in literal tears. Now, for all these statistical accomplishments that strike similarities between Luka and MJ, it also goes beyond anything we can measure. You see, when we think of Michael Jordan, we talk about competitive fire, the unquantifiable will to win, the notion that one thrives off any ounce of doubt or disrespect. If you trash talk Michael Jordan, you were getting sent home. There was no if, buts, or maybes. It was a matter of when. Well, Luka Doncic might not be able to jump as high as Michael Jordan. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times I've actually seen him dunk. But if you talk to Luka Doncic, it doesn't matter if it's at home, if it's on the road, or if it's in a Game 7. You're getting sent home. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And until next time, peace out.